Boy Advance. This is the Game Boy Advance SP, and this is the Nintendo DS Lite. And today, we will be putting all three of them head to head. Let's start with comparing the Game Boy Advance to the Game Boy Advance SP. They are of the same family, as they are both Game Boy Advance consoles, but they're also different in some ways. First off, Game Boy Advance is much thicker than the regular Game Boy Advance when open. Well, only this one can be opened. But as you can see, it is significantly thicker, and for one of the reasons is that this is more comfortable to hold. It has more curves and soft edges to it than the Game Boy Advance SP's boxy, square appearance. The button layouts are very similar, but also different in some ways. The Game Boy Advance SP has a D-pad on the left, buttons on the right, and start and select buttons in the center, with a mono speaker and a brightness control button. While the Game Boy Advance has L&R triggers on the top, D-pad on the left, buttons on the right, and then start and select buttons on the left with a mono speaker on the right. It's not exactly too fair to compare them this way because they're completely different form factors. This is more pocket-sized and portable as it folds with a clamshell design, and this is what I think would be more known as a slate design, if I'm not wrong. Let's go ahead and go over some differences between these. This only has one port on the top. As you can see, this is the link cable port. This has two ports. This is a headphone jack port, and this is a link cable port, so they both have link cable ports. This has a rechargeable battery, while this does not. And yes, you can get mods for these from like retromodding.com and other places like that. But stock, you have to use two AA batteries to charge it. This one has a headphone jack, while the Game Boy Advance SP does not. While some people have modded them, such as the Retro Future, I will link his video about that in the description. This also has a volume wheel instead of a volume slider. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn both of them on. Now first you're going to be able to notice that you can see the screen much better than you can this one. That's because this is a really crappy screen. You basically need direct light to be able to see it well, and even with direct light, I have lights up here, you really can't see the screen that well. Although this one you can play it in the dark. It has a great screen, and that's why people have actually put these AGS 101 screens into the AGB 001. Although most people are going to opt for $60, $70 IPS LCD for one of these, it's much brighter and clearer than this, but I got this for $40. I'm not complaining. And no, it was not clear when I got it. It had a really, really crappy looking pink case, so I swapped it out. This also has another brightness, so you can make it brighter. You can see just how bright this is and how good it looks. Now we're going to go ahead and bring in the DS. The DS has D-pad on the left and buttons on the right, but it adds two buttons, a Y and X button because this has four buttons and it's a more advanced console. They moved the start and select buttons to the right. I think the button layout is slightly different on the original Nintendo DS. I don't have one, so I don't know. I'm going to turn this on. This has a very odd on button. You have to it's kind of like a switch, but you have to hold it and pick it up. It's weird. So as you can see, they're both very bright consoles compared to this one. As you can see, they're very similar. I'm pretty sure this may or may not have a higher resolution. I could be wrong. The reason I'm including the DS in this video, just the original two, is because these actually have Game Boy Advance ports. So they're one of the last ones in the Game Boy Advance family. As you can see, I can stick a Game Boy Advance game in there. So now let's go ahead and take a look at gameplay, starting with the Game Boy Advance. Now, on the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Advance SP, the cartridge will sit flush with the console, unlike on the Nintendo DS Lite, it sticks out, which you guys will get to see in a minute. This has a really good speaker, and I'm actually going to turn it down since I'm talking. I'm pretty sure the speakers in these are the same. I really don't like this screen, but it's so comfortable to hold that I actually sometimes prefer it over the SP if it wasn't for the terrible screen. It sort of just melts into your hand. so I'm actually not going to play this. It's very nice to the device. The only thing is, the batteries, I prefer rechargeable things, but the same batteries have been in here for a really long time, and they haven't gone bad. So now let's go ahead and take a look at gameplay on this one. I'm just going to stick the same game in here because that's what I have right now. I'm not going to go over to my desk and grab another game. As you can see, the screen is much clearer and much brighter than this Game Boy Advance. I really like this screen. Blacks look amazing. I'm just gonna do some quick gameplay. I've had this SP for longer than I've had my regular Game Boy Advance, so I've grown to get used to the somewhat cramped control scheme. So for me, it's not terrible, and I may not prefer it, but it's not as bad as probably it is to other people. So now we're going to try it in the DS. As you can see, it sticks out quite a bit. So if we go ahead and reset it, you will see that we can start the GBA game, and it works fine. The colors are great on this. People have made what are called Game Boy macros, where basically you take one of these, you like rip off the top screen basically and add like get a custom shell, and like so it doesn't have any Y and X buttons, it just has A and B. And basically that's how a lot of people play their Game Boy Advance games, because of the amazing screen on the DS Lite. That's about it for my comparison between all these three consoles. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully coming out in less than a month.